So this video is going to be somewhat different. I'm going to try to talk about Splatoon 4 or whatever it's called, and basically talk about what can the Splatoon series do to pretty much transition into something fresh or something new. Because the last thing that I feel like we want when it comes to the next Splatoon game to come out is basically the same thing that we've had for the last 3 games. You had Splatoon 1, which was basically just the core gameplay, which is, totally fine. You had Splatoon 2 that showed off new weapon mechanics and a bunch of different new weapons as well. And now you've had Splatoon 3 that's pretty much showed off new movement mechanics and all that jazz. Now, these things are all great. Don't get me wrong. It's all good additions, especially for how, the way Splatoon was pretty much released throughout the whole series at this point. But I feel like we're at a point where the next Splatoon game really has to change itself up. Not super drastically, still keep the same formula because I think that's the most important part. But I feel like they need to add something to the gameplay to make it a little bit more fresh and a little bit different, just so that the next one that's coming out doesn't just feel like it's like another COD game being released and it just feels like the same thing and same modes and all that stuff. So funny enough, I've actually had to talk about this maybe a month ago on my stream, and I'm just going to relay the clips of that because we were having a bit of a discussion on that, just so you're up to speed with how I'm thinking about it. So watch this clip first and then I'll talk again right away.
What would I like to see in Splatoon 4? I'd like to see something a little different in this game. Like something that is like the formula of Splatoon, but like something that like changes it up. Switches it up. What that might be, not sure. But I mean, to be fair, it's like we've had Splatoon, the same formula of Splatoon for like the last 3 games. So it's like do something more, I wouldn't think they would do first-person view in this game. I feel like that would make Splatoon feel like a different game. But at least what I'm trying to say is that you have the formula of Splatoon. It's 4v4. That's cool, and it's a great formula. Base formula is great. It's just a matter of what can they do with that formula to expand on it. And just good example, obviously Mario Kart, because Mario Kart's had the same formula for years, for the last 20-something, 30-something years actually. It's the same formula, but every single time it's expanded on. And it's just a matter of what can you do to change it a little bit. Like, let's just say that you have your main weapon and your secondary weapon. Oh, wait, that could actually work. You have a main weapon and a secondary weapon. My question is, though, how you make room for a control scheme to do that? I think it would be possible because currently right now, I guess you could use A button. The A button right now, other than like in Clan Blitz, is like a button that's not used at all. Or the D-pads, the left and right D-pads, probably would be a little better because these 2 buttons are not used at all. At least during gameplay, they're not used. Clicking in the sticks is like a maybe, because clicking in the right stick is your special, so there are buttons for it. Maybe you can switch it in spawn too. This has got me thinking. This has actually got me thinking now. Like, you can switch the weapon within spawn, but you can't switch the weapon during play, Generally, that could work. Like, there's like a little hub that you can change a weapon in, Yeah, the two back buttons for the Switch 2 are like, they're only for they're just remappable buttons, so if you want to use them, you can. I think the concept of like being able to use 2 weapons would be really, really cool though. And I think there's definitely ways that you could actually show that off and be like, okay, at the start of the game, this player has this and this, and this player has this and this. Like, I think that definitely could work. Plus, I think it'll be cool because it's just like, let's just say that you go against a composition and it's just like, man, this composition is like really bad. But you have now your secondary weapon. If your main weapon isn't working so well, use your secondary, I think that'll be cool. And plus, like, you can be super expansive with it. Like, you could have like so many different loadouts for that, I think. Like, maybe you want to have sword and a sniper, or maybe you want to have a sniper and something else, or maybe you want to use a roller and something else. Like as long as it's a thing where you can only swap within the spawn, I think that's fine, But like, once you're in the battle, then you have to use it until you die, unless like you jump out back to spawn or something. It would like kind of follow the trait of Overwatch and Marvels. But the thing is, this game plays so much like both those games, so that's the thing. And it's like the only thing that this game doesn't have is the ability to actually switch out or switch your weapon and all that. The gear is going to be the interesting thing though, because like, unless like you have the ability to choose your specific gear, or like you're only able to use like one loadout of gear, or like if you switch out to this weapon, you have a different loadout of gear, then maybe. But I think that might be one thing, unless like you just have to use the same gear and make it work. Honestly, I think using the same gear and making it work would be still cool. I think if you have one set of gear, then it makes you have to think about how you're going to make a build that's going to work with both weapons, you know? Instead of it just being all focused on one, it's like you have to focus on how can you uplift both these weapons with two, you know? I think that could be really, really cool. So we pretty much went into the discussion that the next Splatoon game should probably consider having 2 weapons instead of 1. And I've got like a multitude of ideas for how they can really implement this, and you heard a few of them is in the clip as well. But I feel like this would be such a great change for many different reasons. I feel like one reason that would actually just change up the gameplay and the whole strategy of Splatoon while also still maintaining its regular core gameplay is just that, okay, you go into a match and you see that you have 2 charger players on your team or 2 backline, and the other team on the other side is full aggression in a super aggressive mode. So you just kind of go into the game and just think, wow, this game is just going to be very, very rough because we don't really have the composition to really handle what is happening in front of us right now. But that's the thing. I feel like if you have the novelty of also having the additional secondary weapon, then you can use your secondary weapon because maybe you picked one that will actually fit against the comp a whole lot better. So it doesn't just feel like, damn, like we're just so outclassed for what we can really do. We have like more options and stuff like that. It's not gonna lie, it's kind of like how games like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals are when you go against a certain comp and it's just like, wow, this is not working at all. So you change your hero and you use something that is more suited to fighting against that specific comp. I think that just in general would just be a very welcoming change. Like if you want to go into a match and you have a short range option and a long range option just so that you can battle both like 2 different types of situations, then I think that's just gonna be great. And I think this is, of course, this is something that only can be accessed within your spawn area, or of course if you've been taken out, because I think personally that's probably the most fair way to do it. Because like, let's just say, okay, you're in the middle of the map. If you're doing it in the middle of the map and you're switching weapons around that point, I don't think that is super fair. I don't think that really makes sense either. But just having the ability to change it when you need to, like of course jump back to spawn, change weapon, jump back in, you could literally do stuff like that. Like it'll change the whole strategy of how the game could actually be played too. So of course there's going to be some cons that come with it. Like if you go back to your spawn, you're going to be wasting time on the battlefield as well. And if you come back in, of course, I mean that's just time wasting at some point. But another thing is that I feel like if you do change your weapon at any point, and let's say you're changing a weapon with a full special, then you have to completely deplete the whole special meter and basically start charging up the next special meter of that new weapon that you're pulling out. So I think that in itself will just be just a nice balance thing, because like I don't think it would be fair where it's like, okay, I'm using a splatter shot that has triple Zuka, but now I want to use killer whale or Kraken or something. So I'm going to jump back to spawn, I'm going to get my Kraken, and I'm going to use the Kraken straight away, and then I'm going to jump back to spawn again and use my splatter shot again. Like that, I don't think that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, of course, since the next Splatoon game in the series is going to be on Nintendo Switch 2, I thought I would talk about it and just give off my idea for what I feel like they could change, because like I said, they just cannot do another Splatoon 3. Like they can't do the same thing like they've already done before. And personally, I feel like Nintendo's really good at I guess maintaining the same formula of their previous games, like much like how Mario Kart is, and actually just like always doing something to add to it and something that really makes the game feel different. So I'm hoping that's the same case that's going to follow through with Splatoon and all the other series that also follow through with it. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to say. Let me know you guys' thoughts on my idea, and if you guys have any ideas of your own for the next Splatoon game in the series, because I'd quite like to know. Maybe we can have a little bit of a discussion about it and just see like what do you guys think could make Splatoon feel more fresh. The thing is though, I just feel like, of course, like I said again, it just has to maintain the core gameplay aspect, but how are you going to change it? Like I feel like new maps, new game type, new stuff like that, we've had this and we've had a lot of it, but I don't feel like it's this kind of sauce that makes a new game feel like a new game, if you don't understand me. So yeah, no, let me know what your thoughts are. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I shall see you guys in a future one.